Hello, everyone, and happy Mother's Day to all of you. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Butt Fumble Sports Show. So wonderful to have you with us on this amazing Sunday. I hope your weekend is going incredibly well. And to all the mothers out there, thank you for life, thank you for existence, and thank you for allowing us this opportunity to enjoy sports once we have brunch with you. So let's get into some of our favorite bets of the day, our favorite fantasy plays of the day. We're going to do our research live on the show. I was doing my research just a moment ago off the air, and I thought, why am I doing it off the air? I might as well just do it on the air and allow all of you guys that kind of behind the scenes experience of hearing out how I go through every game, every matchup, figuring out which player prop bets I like, which game picks I like, which total plays I like. So we are going to answer questions, but we're going to do that later in the show. So if you like getting your Q&A in, you'll probably want to skip ahead or check back with us a little bit later. This is where I'm actually going to go game by game and figure out what bets I'm going to be making today. We do this every now and then. Really, it's for these morning shows or early afternoon shows when I haven't had time to do my research. I figure I might as well do my research live on the air and give you guys that opportunity to hear what's going through my head as I make each one of my bets today. Of course, we're live on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, and I want to give a big thank you to all of you guys who take time out of your day to watch our content. I am so grateful. We are a sports content company created by a sports fan for you real sports fans at home. If you're new to Butt Fumble Sports, we love ranting about sports. We love talking to you guys about what's going on in the sports world, but we're also very big into sports betting and fantasy sports. And the way we approach it is by using data, analytics, research, studying the matchups, looking at the officiating, looking at the weather, getting every little piece of data that we can get our hands on, and trying to find a constellation of variables that point us in the same direction. That's how we come up with our bets every single day. If you guys are new to the show, new to the channel, make sure you hit the follow button and make sure you subscribe. And that way you know every time we go live. We're live almost every single day across all of these great platforms. And I hope you guys take time out of your day to join us whenever we do go live. With that said, if you ever want a bet of mine, I give them away for free. I know there are a lot of people on social media these days who give out sports betting picks, but they charge for them. I think that's ridiculous. I'm a big sports fan just like you guys are. I'd be doing this research whether I was doing this show or not. So I figure I give away my picks for free. They're always available to you guys. You never have to pay for them. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports is the name of my handle. DM me on Instagram. I'll send you a link and a referral code for the SHARPZ app. SHARPZ is like a bulletin board for sports bettors. It allows us to post and share all of our picks every day. So if you miss any of the picks that I'm going to research over the next hour and a half, 2 hours, you can find them on the SHARPZ app. If you guys want to know every bet that I make every single day, just DM me on Instagram. Again, I never charge for my picks. They're never behind a paywall. Right now we're hitting all of our picks at about a 57% rate. Usually our individual bets, our non-parlay bets, hit usually a little bit better than that, 65 to 68%. So that's my batting average. That's how I do. That said, I place a lot of bets every day because I know you guys are interested in so many sports. So if I really could pick and choose, I would narrow what I actually bet on, but I like try to participate in as many games that you guys care about as possible. With that said, as I mentioned as we started the show, I'm actually going to do my research game by game for this show. Normally we do Q&A and I focus on what you guys care about. Because I haven't done my research yet for the day and I have about 2 hours of time to get in my picks, I'm actually going to go game by game doing my research. You guys can hear what variables I care about, what trends I care about. Hopefully we get that wrapped up in about an hour, hour and a half, leaving us a little bit of time for Q&A. So if you're here specifically for Q&A, forgive me, but I'm going to do research. I will be checking in on the comment section just to know what you guys care about or if there's some follow-up. But really, I'm going to research every game that I'm betting on and that I care about today, and that's how we're going to go about our work. With that said, let's get into it, everybody. We're going to focus first on the MLB because MLB has its first pitch before NBA. I'm going to focus on the MLB games first. The first baseball game we're going to be focusing on is Diamondbacks and Orioles. First pitch for this one is at 1:35. checking at ballparkpal.com, which is one of the websites I use on the side. It does require a subscription, and they don't sponsor the show, so unfortunately I don't have any referrals for you or codes or links or anything like that. But ballparkpal.com lets me know that the weather is going to be a factor in that Orioles-Diamondbacks game. They are in Baltimore. Likelihood of a home run is down 21%. That is actually one of the highest negatives. That's the second highest negative when it comes to home runs today. The only one that's greater is the game Reds-Giants out in San Francisco. So we can kind of expect this is going to be a lower scoring game. The over-under is set at 7.5. Gives you an indication that the sports books are aware of that weather impact. Additionally, the money is coming down more on the under than one would expect. Right now, the total tickets bet on the total for this game is 79% towards the over, but actually only 64% of the money is going towards the over. So the under is getting a bit more action, especially as the morning goes on. In fact, if we look at how the trends are going, this opened at 7.5. It actually went up to 8.5 late last night, and then it has come down to 7, back down to 7.5 early this morning. With that said, I've been looking at this game off to the side. Let me plug in some of the trends that we're looking at and care about for this game. First of all, Diamondbacks, we're just going to focus on a fun trend. We started doing it yesterday. How do teams perform on a certain day of the week? Diamondbacks have actually been a very good team on Sundays, if you care about those kinds of things. They're 5-1 straight up on Sundays, 5-1 on the run line. They're also 4-1-1 towards the under. Now again, does that really matter? Maybe it's an indication of how they perform in a certain series or perform under certain conditions, but we're just playing around. We're going to look at trends throughout the entirety of the show. Orioles, 3-3 on Sundays, 3-3 on the run line, 3-3 on the over-under. So the Orioles are a very 3-3 team on Sundays. How about when the Orioles are coming off a win as a home favorite? They're coming off a win. They're a home favorite today. They're 6-5 under that scenario. You would think they'd be a little bit better, funny enough, but they're not. Kind of just playing around 500 ball. The over-under 6-5 towards the under. How about the Diamondbacks? Diamondbacks coming off a loss when they're an away dog. Coming off a loss after being as an away dog. Diamondbacks are 4-6 straight up, 7-3 on the run line. They're actually 4-2 in their last 6 games under this scenario straight up, which is a good sign. Even better when it comes to the spread. They're 5-1 against the spread in this scenario. Additionally, the over slightly better, 5-4-1. Now, Zach Gallen on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's take a look at how the Diamondbacks have done when Zach Gallen has been on the mound. We're on killersports.com, by the way. You guys could do this very research on your own. Killersports.com is a free website. So if you like looking through trends, data, getting your hands dirty in stats, check that one out. So Zach Gallen so far this year has made 7 starts. Diamondbacks are 4-3 in those starts, 4-3 on the run line as well. The under's a slightly better play at 4-3. The under's actually gone 3-1 in his last 4 starts. That's of note. Specifically, I'm going to look at when he's pitched when the Diamondbacks have been an underdog. Hasn't been the case at any point this year. Interesting. How has he pitched on the road? Kind of poorly, actually. Diamondbacks are just 1-3 in his 4 starts on the road so far this year, giving up about 5.5 runs per game. Let's flip it over. Let's check out Dean Kremer. Dean Kremer of the Baltimore Orioles on the mound for the O's. Let's see how they performed when he's been on the mound this year. 4-3 straight up, 3-4 on the run line. One good note here, they're actually 3-0 straight up. Swamper, thanks so much. Really appreciate the kind words. We definitely try to approach things from a quantitative analysis standpoint as opposed to just this is my favorite team or my favorite player. Certainly like what I'm seeing from the Orioles with Dean Kremer on the mound, but let's dive into it a little bit deeper. How have they done when he's been a favorite on the mound? They're actually just 2-3. The over's been a very strong play additionally. However, those games came against the Royals, Pirates, Brewers, Royals, and Angels. So not exactly juggernauts and certainly not great starting pitching on the other side. So I'm kind of looking at the weather. I'm looking at the starting pitching matchup. I'm kind of on the fence if I'm being frank with you. I want to take the under right now. If I could take it at 9, that's where I'd really like it. Under 9 at minus 225. Some of you guys will think that's a cop-out given it's a minus 225 bet. I put it into some parlays. I put it into like a same game parlay, take the under, maybe take the Orioles on the money line or Diamondbacks to cover a +2 spread, something like that. But really, this game's a tricky one for me. Zach Gallen on the mound suggests that this should be a better performance by the Diamondbacks. They play well on Sunday. The money's coming down very heavily on the Orioles. 98% of the money is on the Orioles. Normally, when I see money coming down that hard on one side, I tend to follow it. So personally, I like the Orioles on the money line because the money. I like the Arizona Diamondbacks because of the trend. I'm going to avoid this game. I'm just not going to touch it. I feel like this one's a bit of a coin flip. Maybe a later, I'll get some gumption and I'll take that underplay at 9. But that's probably the only thing that actually is catching my attention right now. Again, that's under 9 for this game. And even that, I'm not as crazy about it as I probably would be, given the other opportunities there. Let's get to the next game on the docket. Next game we're going to talk about is Cubs and Pirates. So those who are actually interested in Pirates, good opportunity here. By the way, JP, we'll get to hockey, but that's got a later start, so we're going to worry about that a little bit less. Cubs and Pirates right now, Cubs are getting the money. 68% of the tickets are on the Cubs to win. 76% of the money is on the Cubs to win. Cubs are also getting a lot of the action to cover the spread at 1.5. According to ballparkpal.com, this game has pretty good weather, actually. Likelihood of home runs down about 12%, but the likelihood of extra base hits is up 13%. That was a wild game yesterday, by the way, everybody. I hope you guys remember yesterday I recommended Pirates to cover the spread in the first 5 innings. That was a bizarre one. Up 6-1, then trailing 8-6 through the top of the 5th. They take that multiple hour rain delay, come back, and the Pirates score 3 runs to cash our bet. One of the wildest bets of the day. Certainly one of my favorite bets and kind of following it through the day. By the way, is there any tools to find that flow of money? So Outlier is a really great tool. I've mentioned this before. Outlier does require a subscription, but they sponsor the show, so I can offer you guys a free 7-day trial for Outlier so you guys can give it a whirl. What I love, there are a number of things I really like about Outlier, but one of the biggest is it tells me what the market's like. It's telling me how the tickets are being bet by the public and how the money's coming in. Those 2 factors are always nice to know. I don't put all my stock into that because I do like to know what the trends are for the teams, but it certainly tells me, 1, what's the public thinking, aka what do the sports books want to happen? Also, what's the smart money doing? What are the guys who do this for a living? How are they approaching this? Always nice to know those little bit of factors as you include them into your calculations or into your thinking. That said, let's dive into some of the trends for this Cubs and Pirates game. Again, we're going to start pretty simple. How do the Cubs do on Sunday games? 4-2 straight up, 5-1 on the run line, interestingly enough. How have the Pirates done on Sundays? Pirates on Sundays, 4-2 straight up, 4-2 on the run line. Again, we're just studying some trends, seeing if it works, what's going well. How about this? How have the Cubs done in day games? Cubs in day games so far this year, just 10-8 actually, 9-9 on the run line. How have the Cubs done in day games on the road? 3-3 straight up, 3-3 on the run line. How about as day game favorites? 3-5 on the straight up, 2-6 on the run line. So just looking at some trends right here, interestingly enough, not as good a team in day games as you would think, just given their lineup and given how often they're playing day games being in Chicago. Now again, this game is in Pittsburgh. How have the Pirates done in day games so far this year? Pirates in day games 11-10 straight up, 10-11 on the run line. They're 3-1 in their last 4 day games, if that matters. How about a day game coming off a win? That's an interesting one. 5-4 straight up, 6-3 on the run line. Circling back to the Cubs, how have they done in day games after a loss the previous day? Cubs are actually 4-1 straight up, coming off a loss the previous day, and then playing a day game. Polaric, I totally agree with you, by the way. Some of this stuff, I'm just going through trends. I'm not saying that this is the variable that... I always get a kick out of when you guys are like, that's irrelevant. And what I get a kick out of that is, I'm looking for a constellation of variables. I'm not looking for one thing to say this is a good bet. I'm looking for like 4, 5, 6 things to say it's a good bet. So maybe how they perform on a certain day of the week, maybe how they perform at a certain time of the day, how they perform against righty starters or lefty starters, how they do after a loss, after a win, after a game that goes over, after a game that goes under. So yes, some of these things that I pull up, you guys are going to go, that's irrelevant. But actually, I'm looking for things that all point in the same direction. And maybe, yeah, the day of the week might impact some of that. One of the things we also look at is last game of a series. For the Cubs, Pirates, this is the last game of this series. How have these two teams done in the last game of a series? That's certainly relevant to me. Pirates, by the way, 2, 4. They are 1-6 in their last 7 games that are the last game of a series. That stands out to me, may not stand out to you. But again, I'm looking for a constellation of variables. That's what I like to say. And by the way, if you don't like our research, feel free to swipe away. Like, I'm not holding your feet to the fire here. Cubs, by the way, last game of a series are 7-5. What are they in the last game of a series as a favorite? 1-1 on the run line. 1-1 straight up. Actually, 0-2 on the run line. Thanks, Chop. Appreciate you, buddy. How about when the Cubs are on the road, last game of a series, 3-3 straight up, 4-2 on the run line. So again, we're just going through different variables, different ways of studying the data to try to find the best bets every day, just seeing what works. Cubs, coming off a loss as an away favorite so far this year, are 2-0 straight up. The unders hit both times. Kind of interesting there. Other side, let's flip it around. Pirates coming off a win as a home underdog. Okay, kind of an interesting trend here. I guess we won't count them as a true underdog yet. But the point is, the under's actually been a good play. Pirates, after a win at home, the under is 6-3. Under seems to be coming up a little bit on this one as well as a consistent trend. Not going to bet that one. Don't believe it enough. But I do like what I'm seeing from the Cubs on the money line. That's going to be the first pick I put up on the board. I just want to check one thing first. That's the starting pitcher. Kyle Hendricks on the mound for the Cubs. How has he done so far on the road this year? 0-3. Yikes. Kyle Hendricks has struggled on the road. 0-3. He's 1-4 on the season, or the Cubs are 1-4. Interestingly enough, the over is 5-0 in his 5 starts this year. How about starting pitcher of the Pirates? Kind of interesting here. Starting pitcher of the Pirates, Bailey Falter. Pirates are 5-2 in his starts. I'm going to back away from this one. Much like the Diamondbacks and Orioles, there are reasons for me to see kind of a difference of opinion between the trends we just looked at. I was ready to go on the Cubs, but they have not performed well with Kyle Hendricks on the mound. How about when they're coming off a loss and Kyle Hendricks is on the mound? Just kind of curious about that. 0-1. Nothing that I really like about this game. Again, Cubs are getting the money. You might want to take the Cubs on the side. I totally understand if that's the approach you're going to go with. If you want to take the Cubs on the money line, I get it. Just not one that I'm going to sink my teeth into, at least at this point in the morning. Let's go to our next game. Next game we're going to focus on is Nationals and Red Sox. We haven't gotten a bet up on the big board. Don't worry, we're going to do player prop bets as well in just a little bit, so I'm sure we'll get some action in those first 2 games we discussed. But as of right now, the only bet that I'm kind of leaning towards is actually that under in the Diamondbacks and Orioles game, under 9. Other than that, I feel like a lot of coin flips so far that I'm just seeing, not getting me as excited as I would like to be about some of these bets. Personally, I think the Pirates to cover actually might be a bet that I'm kind of interested in. Now that I've seen that Kyle Hendricks stat, what are the Pirates at +2? Pirates at +2 are minus 231. That might become a round robin bet for me. Not putting it on the big board though. Again, let's flip over to Nationals and Red Sox. Nationals and Red Sox. Chop, I think so. I think under 9. Nationals and Red Sox, the money is coming down very heavily on the Red Sox right now. 98% of the money is on the Red Sox to win. 98% of the money is on the Red Sox to cover. The under is actually getting a lot of love this morning. 45% of the tickets are on the under. 49% of the money is on the under as well. Brian Bayo on the mound for the Red Sox. Mackenzie Gore on the mound for the Nationals. Again, we're going to look through just some trends, have some fun, how have the Nationals performed on. The Nationals are 6-0 on the run line on Sundays. Kind of an interesting note there. Undefeated on the run line on Sundays. How about the Red Sox on Sundays so far this year? Red Sox are 6-0 straight up and 4-2 on the run line. So kind of some interesting trends. Two teams that have performed very well on Sundays. Just something fun. How about the Nationals in the last game of a series on the road? Nationals are 2-4 straight up, 4-2 on the run line. Last game of a series. How about the last game of a series against a right-handed starter? Kind of interested by that. 3-5 straight up, 6-2 on the run line. Starting to get a sense of where we might come down on this game. How about Red Sox last game of a series? So far this year, they're 7-5 straight up, 4-8 on the run line. How about the last game of a series at home? Oops. Last game of a series, when they've played at home, 0-5 on the run line. Really interesting trend here. So the Red Sox have performed very well on Sundays. Maybe you care, maybe you don't. But what's really interesting to me is actually last game of a series at home, the Red Sox are 0-5 on the run line. Very, very interesting there. Nationals to cover might be getting some love from us later in the morning. But first, I'm going to switch over and I want to see how Mackenzie Gore, starting pitcher for the Nationals, has performed so far this season. Nationals are 3-4 straight up in his starts, 4-3 on the run line. Under's been a slightly better play at 3-2-2. What do you mean by the run line? That means if they're a favorite, they're winning by more than a run and a half. If they're an underdog, they're covering or losing by less than a run and a half. So it sometimes depends. What it really is telling me is how are they performing against expectation. So sometimes we'll dive into whether they're a favorite. Sometimes we'll dive into whether they're an underdog. But when we're talking about the run line, what it's really saying is how competitive are they in terms of the final score. So when I say Mackenzie Gore, the Nationals are 4-3 on the run line in his starts. It just tells me that they're actually they're decently competitive. I'd like them to be a little bit better, 5-2, 6-1, something like that. But not bad, not bad. Let's see how Brayan Bello, the starting pitcher for the Red Sox, how have they been when he's been on the mound for them? Again, he's considered their young ace. They signed him to a big long-term contract in the offseason. Brayan Bello, straight up 4-1 on the run line, 2-3. Okay, this is going to be our first bets of the day that make the big board. I'm going to take the Red Sox on the money line. I'm going to take the Nationals to cover. So we're going to take Red Sox on the money line. I do think they get the win today, but I like the Nationals to cover. The +1.5, I'm interested in it. I'd also take the +2, obviously, to be safe, but I'll take the +1.5 and put that on the board. I think this is going to be a one-run difference. I think it's a very close game, and this is one I think the Red Sox ultimately win, but I think the Nationals are close and keep it competitive throughout. So I'm on both sides of this game, not going to touch the total. We'll talk player prop bets a little bit later. Let's move on to the next game we have this morning. 1:37 start for Twins and Blue Jays. That game was a heartbreaker yesterday. We had Twins +1.5. Twins got off to a big lead, like a 7-run lead in the first 3 innings. And at that point, as a sports bettor, you're kind of sitting back and you're like, oh, we're gonna cash that ticket. +1.5 with a 7-run lead. We feel good about it. Nope. Blue Jays came back, won the game 10-8, shot through the heart, and you're too late. You give love a bad name there, Twins. Anyways, let's get to some trends. First of all, let's look at how the money's coming down on Twins and Blue Jays. Twins are getting a lot of love. Right now, 73% of the tickets are on the Twins. 71% of the money is on the Twins. By the way, Whamex full. Great call on that one. Great call on that one. Twins are getting a lot of love on the run line as well. The Twins are the favorite in this game. They're a road favorite. 91% of the tickets are on them to cover -1.5. 97% of the ticket, or 97% of the money are on the Twins to cover that -1.5. So interested that the Twins are a favorite today. Again, we're going to look through some what you call irrelevant trends. Twins have not been a good team on Sundays so far this year. They're 1-4 on Sundays. Again, may matter, may not, but we're looking at everything that we can get our hands on. How about the Blue Jays on Sundays so far this year? 3-3 straight up, 3-3 on the run line. Now, let's get to some trends you guys may care about more. Last game of a series. Twins in the last game of a series so far this year are 6-6 straight up, 7-5 on the run line. How about as a favorite? So far this year, they're 5-4 as a favorite, both straight up and on the run line. when they're in the last game of a series. What's interesting to note, though, last game of a series for the Twins, 7-2 towards the over. Over's actually been a very good play when the Twins are in the last game of a series as they are today. By the way, big note for you guys out there. If you're not aware of it, Alek Manoah is on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll bring up his stats in a moment. But if you guys don't know, Alek Manoah, the one-time ace of the Toronto Blue Jays, has since had an absolute collapse of his career, especially statistically. He has given up a lot of runs over his last starts, not just this year, but obviously in the minors this year as well, but also dating back to last year has been a big struggle for him. So with that said, keep your eye on the runs in this game. Again, we'll talk about the over in a minute, but I love the fact that the Twins kind of favor the over in the last game of a series as a favorite. How about when the Twins are in the last game of a series on the road? 3-3 straight up, 4-2 on the run line, over getting a little love on 4-2. Let's look at the Blue Jays. How have the Blue Jays performed last game of a series? Why does a last game of a series matter to me? It's a reflection on the bullpen. It's a reflection on travel. It's a travel day for one of those two teams, if not both of them. So it's just, and by the way, last game of a series is also a big indication of we've seen these pitchers. These pitchers have seen these hitters. We've had a few opportunities to scout the opposing team. So last game of a series is a big indication, as well as the first game of a series. Okay, Blue Jays last game of a series, 4-8 straight up, 4-8 on the run line. The under's been a better play. The under's 7-5. Now, I still like the over a little bit. We'll talk about it in a moment. But the Blue Jays have really struggled last game of a series. Definitely stands out to me. I mentioned Alek Manoah a moment ago. Let's take a look at Alek Manoah's stats so far this season, or how he's performed, how the Blue Jays have performed when he's been on the mound. Only one start, the over hit in that game. The Blue Jays allowed 11 runs in that game. How about in 2023? How did the Blue Jays perform when Alek Manoah started in 2023? They were 8-11 straight up, 7-12 on the run line. The over had been a very good play until the final few starts he had. In the last 4 starts that he had, the under was actually a better play. But prior to that, the over had been very consistent. I tend to lead slightly towards the over. We'll continue to talk about that as we look at Bailey Ober. Bailey Ober is the starting pitcher for the Twins today. How have they been with Bailey Ober on the mound? 3-4 straight up, 3-4 on the run line, though they have won 3 of their last 4 games. Over's gone 3-2-2. Here's how I'm going to come down on this game for all you folks out there. I am going to put this up on the big board. I'm taking the Twins on the money line. I think the Twins get this win. Bailey Ober's the better starter. I actually think the the Blue Jays last game of a series, that trend really stood out to me. I'm also going to take the over on this one. Right now I'm seeing the current over-under set at 8.5. You guys know I like to buy alternative lines. This opened at 7.5, went to 8, then went to 8.5. It tells you the money's coming down on that over. I'm going to take it at 7. Right now you can get over 7 at -210. Even if 7 runs are scored and it's a push, fine by me. But I feel like 7's a really good spot to take this. Twins, Blue Jays, over 7. It is a -215 kind of bet. But I actually think in a parlay, not a bad play. Just dropped to 8 again on DraftKings. I'd be willing to take it at 8 if it came down there. 7's the best spot, obviously, because I think then you're cashing at 8 as opposed to pushing at 8. But the fact that it's at 8 right now, not a terrible look. So far we have Red Sox money line, Nationals +1.5 on the board, as well as Twins money line, Blue Jays and Twins over 7. We did not make a bet for Diamondbacks and Orioles. If I did, I'd probably go Orioles on the money line, and I would probably take under 9, but I'm not feeling as much conviction behind those two plays. Cubs and Pirates, I'd probably take the Pirates to cover right now. Honestly, Pirates like a +2 feels like a very safe play if I can get my hands on it at a good spot. Pirates +2, yeah, that feels about right. Let's get to the next game on the schedule. This one, first pitch at 1:40. Yankees down in Tampa to play the Rays. Yankees had a loss yesterday. And guys, this one, I am going to actually bring up a player prop bet. So I mentioned to you guys yesterday, looking like a freaking fool with egg on my face, Juan Soto. He hasn't had a hit in his 2 previous games we're going all in on Juan Soto to get a hit on Saturday. Juan Soto doesn't get a hit on Saturday. You know what ends up happening? Yankees lose. And so it's an interesting tell for me that if I ride Juan Soto, at some point he's going to hit big. It is kind of like blackjack, where every time you miss, do you double down because the likelihood that you actually cash even more. So I'm going to bring up Juan Soto a little bit later in the show during player prop bets, but I had to bring him up because he burned me so bad yesterday. Now for this Yankees-Rays game, money is coming down on the Yankees. Luis Gil is on the mound for the Yankees. He has pitched really well. 10 speed, I think he's going to get hit as well, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Yankees right now, 74% of the tickets are on the Yankees. 83% of the money is on the Yankees. As for the spread, the market loves the Yankees to cover a -1.5 run spread. 96% of the tickets are there. 99% of the money is on the Yankees to win by at least 2 runs. The over's getting a little bit more love. Let's see if there's any truth to this. Again, we're going to look at the irrelevant trends first. Shout out to the guy who said that earlier. Yankees so far on Sundays have done really well. Yankees are 5-1 straight up on Sundays, 4-2 on the run line. They're 5-1 on the under, 5-1 towards the over on Sundays. The only Sunday this season in which the under hit was actually back in March, the first series of the year against the Astros. Kind of an interesting note there. Maybe you care, maybe you don't. I don't know if I care. Let's take a look at the Rays on Sundays. Rays on Sundays are 3-3 straight up, 2-4 on the run line. The over is 4-2. So if we're just basing it on how these two teams have performed on this day of the week, Sundays, Yankees money line, take the over. But that's not all we're going to focus on, obviously, because some of you think that's irrelevant. How about the Yankees in the last game of a series? Last game of a series, they are 7-5 straight up, 5-4 on the run line. The over getting some love at 7-4-1. How about last game of a series on the road? Yankees are 4-2 straight up, last game of a series on the road, 4-1-1 towards the over. How about last game of a series as a favorite? Yankees are 5-4 straight up, 6-3 towards the over. The over is getting a lot of attention from me right now. Certainly stands out. Again, this game's down in the dome of Tampa Bay, but kind of just interesting there. Let's take a look at how the Rays have done. Last game of a series. So far this year, 6-6 straight up, 4-8 on the run line. The under's been a bit better at 7-5 for the Rays when they're in the last game of a series. Again, the total for this one is set at 8.5 for those that are interested in the total. Let's take a look at how the Yankees have done after a loss as an away favorite. Yankees have been an away favorite after a loss 6 times this year. They're 4-2 straight up. Those 2 losses came to the Brewers and came to the Orioles. Gil did pitch in one of those games. The over-under split at 3-3. How about the Rays? After a win at home so far this year, Rays are 6-6 straight up, 4-8 on the run line. They've been better over their last 5. They're 4-5 in their last 5 games after a win at home. The under has gone 6-6 as well. How about when the Rays, after a win, face a right-handed starter? So far this year, 7-8 straight up, 5-10 on the run line. I'm going to flip this over. How have the Yankees done against left-handed pitchers after a loss? After a loss against left-handed pitchers, Yankees have only faced a left-handed starter after loss. Thank you for the hat. 1 time this year, 1 time, and they lost that game. A 5-4 loss to the Blue Jays back on April 16th. How about after when they face a left-handed starter, I'm going to just say on the road. Only 3 times this year, the over hit all 3 times. Here's a big note for you guys. I mentioned a moment ago, I was leaning towards the over. I actually love this trend. The Yankees, it's only a 3-game sample size, but so far this year against a left-handed starter, an opposing left-handed starter on the road, the over's 3-0. How about against left-handed starters so far this year? Actually not as good. The under's been better against left-hand. The under is 7-4 when the Yankees face a left-handed starter, but the home-road splits are a very big difference here. At home against a left-handed pitcher, the under is 7-1. On the road, it's 3-0. You love data. If you're like, I'm sorry, I just got chill bumps. I know I'm such a sports nerd and I'm such a data nerd, but that actually totally gave me chill. But I love that. I love that now we have some really cool data, a really cool trend behind this. I'm kind of geeking out on that. I like that. I hope you guys aren't gonna, give me too much shit for it. But actually, I thought that was a really cool trend. Let's take a look at the two starting pitchers for this game. Let's start by looking at Luis Gil of the New York Yankees, the right-handed flamethrower. He's been off to a fantastic start. He wasn't even supposed to be in the starting rotation this year, but because of the Garrett Cole injury, he got into the lineup. So anyways, the Yankees in his 7 starts this year are 5-2 straight up, 4-3 on the run line. The over's gone 4-3. Interesting to note, when he's pitched, the Yankees are averaging 5.29 runs per game. So the Yankees are providing him with a lot of run support. We like that when we're thinking about the over, because we'd love for them to get to 5-6 runs. Would certainly make life a lot easier. How about Tyler Anderson? How have the Rays done in his starts so far this year? He's only made 4. They're 2-2 straight up, 2-2 on the run line, but the over's 3-1. Here's another good trend for you, or another good piece of data. When Tyler Alexander has been on the mound for the Rays, they're not only averaging about 5.25 runs per game scoring, they're giving up about 5.2 runs per game. So the likelihood, if you guys want a good bet right now, Yankees over 4.5 runs. Yankees over 4.5 runs is a very appealing one. Let's look at the player prop bets really quick for this game. I'm just curious to know if there's any history for these Yankee hitters against this starting pitcher. Yes, there is, and there's some decent numbers. Trevino, it's just 1 for 2. Cabrera, 1 for 2. Torres is 2 for 4. Interesting there. Soto's actually 0 for 3 and Judge is 0 for 3. But some Yankees do hit him decently well. Against left-handed starters so far this year, Juan Soto hitting .311. Other than that, the Yankees don't have any other hitters actually hitting over 300 against left-handed pitchers. Not a great sign. I'm still liking the over on this game, though. We're going to lean towards the over just slightly. But 8.5? Nah, not doing that. I'm going to buy this. This opened at 8.5. Came down to 8, back up to 8.5. Interesting about that line movement. I take this at over 7.5. That's Yankees, Rays, over 7.5. You can get the over 7.5 right now at -160. Obviously, you take it over 7 and put it into some parlays. That's a really good thing to do. But I actually do like the over 7.5 for this game as well. If I had to go in any direction on the money line, it's the Yankees. I am taking Yankees on the money line. I think they're getting the win. They're going to score, I think, 5 runs in this game. I don't see the Rays matching that. I can see the Rays getting to 3, 4 runs, but I don't see them getting to 5. I think the Yankees are going to have the good game. So again, Yankees after a loss, I think they're going to bounce back. Rays, last game of a series at home so far this year. 4-3 straight up, 2-5 on the run line. How about as a home dog? Rays as a home dog in the last game of a series this year. Has it happened? I'm just curious. There was one more trend I wanted to look up. By the way, Andrew, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm so grateful that you guys take time out of your day to watch our content. I so appreciate you guys. If you guys ever want my bets for free, I give away all of my picks for free. Just DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports is the name of my company and my handle on Instagram. DM me. I'll hook you up with a link and a referral code for the SHARPZ app. SHARPZ allows me to show all of my bets every day. Every bet that I make shows up automatically there, so you never miss a bet. You always see what bets I'm going with, so make sure you DM me today. By the way, what site you use for data? We use a couple websites. Before I get to that, before I get to the websites, I want to complete this thought. You're going to love this for the over. The Rays, last game of a series as a home underdog. It's happened 3 times this year. Today will be the 4th. The over is 3-0. Gotta love the over today. Really love the over. Definitely a play that I'm going with for Yankees and Rays. Love the over. So anyways, those who are asking where we get our research every day, a couple of different websites. One is Outlier. Outlier is a sports betting app that allows you to do a lot of research. It's not a sports book. It's an app that aggregates all of this data and marketplace data for you. It does require a subscription. They sponsor our show. So if you guys want any of this, if you want access to Outlier, DM me on Instagram. I can give you a free 7-day trial for Outlier. I certainly think it's worth the money, obviously. I bought it before they started sponsoring the show. I actually bought it, subscribed to it. I was a big fan, and then they watched our content. They were like, hey, we'd love to sponsor you. So I was already big on Outlier before they sponsored the show. I think it's a good return on the investment. It's about $19.99 per month. That said, again, if you'd rather listen to me, that's fine. But if you do want to do this research on your own, Outlier is phenomenal. DM me if you want a free 7-day trial. For those that want to know the other websites I use, killersports.com is free. You guys can use it, KILLER sports.com. All you have to be really knowledgeable about is how to insert the equation. That way, I think they're actually, the way they operate, killersports.com pulls its data from baseballreference.com, basketballreference.com, hockeyreference.com, profootballreference.com. And what that allows you to do is literally pull data that is incredibly accurate, but you have to know how to kind of configure the question. So perfect example, we looked at just a moment ago, the season 2024, which team, the Yankees, when, last game of a series, and then when they're a favorite. So all you have to know is kind of how to build together the equation, the formula to get the research you need. But this is a free website, so if you guys want to play along with us at home or do this research on your own, I always want to empower you guys. I never want you to think that what I'm doing is exclusive or I'm the only one that can do it. I just love doing it, and I hope I give you guys a lot of entertainment while showing you what I like. But that said, if you want to do this on your own, killersports.com, great free website. Check it out. I also use ballparkpal.com. They require a subscription. They don't sponsor the show, so I don't put them on the air if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick right now. But I do check their data. Ballparkpal.com, whoever built it is brilliant. They run thousands of simulations for every baseball game every day. And I'm not saying it's 100% accurate. It's probably not even 90% accurate. But I feel like 75, 80% of the time it's pretty strong. So I'm actually a big believer in them, kind of as like a check and balance against the research I'm doing. So if I kind of see my trends going in one direction and this confirms it, really locks in my pick, that's how I kind of use ballparkpal.com, just to give you some reference points. Those are the websites that I use for baseball. Basketball, every once in a while, I will go to basketballreference.com and I'll look up referees. The histories referees have against certain teams. You'll always notice that referees kind of have the teams they call in favor of and teams they call against. I always keep track of those. We'll talk about basketball in a little bit, though. Let's get back to baseball. The next game we're going to focus on is first pitch at 1:40 for Houston Astros at Detroit Tigers. I told you guys yesterday I like the Tigers. Too bad I didn't have enough conviction in them to just take them on the money line. I did take Astros to cover a spread. Ludicrous play. Tigers were the better bet. Should have known it. That said, Astros are the favorites. The Astros are the underdogs today. Tigers are the favorite, but the Astros are getting the money. So clearly the marketplace really loves the Astros to cover the spread today. We're getting a question about the run in the first inning. Astros, Tigers, I would not play no run in the first inning. I actually could see a run in the first inning for that game. So, Cheek, I would not play no run in the first inning. I actually think that's a risky play. We'll go through our irrelevant trends first and then our more relevant trends in a moment. Astros haven't performed well on Sunday, 3-3 straight up, 3-3 on the run line. How about Tigers on Sunday so far this year? Tigers on Sunday are 4-2 straight up, 2-4 on the run line, 1-4-1 towards the under. The only reason that stands out to me is the Tigers, despite actually having a 4-2 record, they haven't covered the spread well on their 6 Sunday games. And that's what the money is saying. The money's saying the Astros might be a slightly better play, at least in terms of a money line play. Let's look at the Astros' last game of a series. Last game of a series, 6-6 straight up, 7-5 on the run line. The under's been a slightly better play at 7-5. What I really care about is last game of a series after a loss. How have they done last game of a series after a loss? only 3-6 straight up, 4-5 on the run line. The under has gone 6-3. So the Astros, again, not as good as we would like to see from them. How about the Tigers? Last game of a series. Tigers last game of a series, 6-6 straight up, 6-6 on the run line. The under's gone 7-4-1. Man, the under is getting a little bit of love on these trends. It was not what I was anticipating. The weather for this game, according to ballparkpal.com, likelihood of home runs down 19%. So it's certainly not going to be a big home run game, according to at least ballparkpal.com. Let's keep looking at some of these trends. How have the Astros done last game of a series on the road? Oops. Astros last game of a series on the road, 2-3 straight up, 2-3 on the run line. The under is gone 3-2. Justin Verlander's on the mound for the Astros today. Let's take a look at how the Astros have done when Justin Verlander has been on the bump. So far this year, the Astros are just 1-3 with Verlander starting 1-3 on the run line. The under has gone 2-1-1. Man, I am just, every time you look at an Astros trend this year, you want to tell yourself, oh, it's going to be good, and then you see it and you're like, it's dog poop on your porch in the summertime. It stinks. How about Jack Flaherty? Here you go. Here's a trend we like. So Jack Flaherty has made 7 starts for the Tigers this year. They are 1-6 on the run line when he starts. They have done a terrible job covering the spread. The under's gone 4-2-1 as well. Let's take a look at where the money's coming down on this game. Right now, the over-under is set at 7.5. That's too low for me. I certainly don't like that. Just looking at the data, I'm not going to bet the total because that over-under is just set too low. If I had to go in any direction, I'd probably take the Astros plus 1.5. What's that being offered at? The Astros opened as 1.5 point run favorites, then were underdogs, are back to favorites again in some places. Astros plus 1.5 is minus 200. That's what I would take. I'll take Astros plus 1.5 at minus 200. I wish it were at a better spot, but so be it. I'd rather take that. We're getting a question, what's on our big board so far this year? So far today? Here are the picks we've made so far during the show. We have Red Sox on the money line, but we are taking the Nationals to cover plus 1.5. So Red Sox money line, Nationals plus 1.5. We have Twins on the money line, Twins Blue Jays over 7 runs, Yankees and Rays over 7.5 runs, Yankees on the money line, and we just put Astros plus 1.5 on the big board. Though I will admit, I'm feeling a little queasy about that one, just given the Astros have been just a disappointment so far this year. Astros really letting us down. By the way, what's up with that? Is it about different manager? Is it about injuries? Is it just stars underperforming? Like, why are the Astros playing dog shit baseball? I absolutely believe that they could ultimately become a contender in not just the AL West, but the AL overall. But, like, what is the reason behind that? It's perplexing, given the fact that they still have enormous talent on that roster. By the way, Josh Hader could have told you he would be a bit of an early season bust. "10 speed, banging on his trash can like Oscar the Grouch." Okay, let's get at it, everybody. Next game we're going to focus on. I think you're right, Butch. I think that's probably right. By the way, Framber Valdez, when did he not, like, him and Christian Javier, I expected the two of them to become studs, and they really are not living up to that status. So, okay, next game we're going to focus on is the last game with a 1 o'clock start, a 1:40 start in this case. Phillies, Marlins. Phillies are heavy favorites. Not only, obviously, 1.5 run favorites on the run line, minus 215 on the money line. The money, the tickets, it's all on the Phillies. Phillies are getting more love today than your mom is. That said, Phillies on Sundays, 4-2 straight up. The over, 5-1 when the Phillies play on a Sunday. May matter to you, may not. We want to tell you that data no matter what. Everybody, we officially have. We're getting the formulation of a constellation. Everybody, we're starting to see it. The Phillies. The over is 5-1. The over is 5-1 when the Phillies play on a Sunday. When the Marlins have played on a Sunday so far this year, The over is 6-0. We're building that constellation. We're seeing the variables. Okay, how about when the Phillies are in the last game of a series on the road? Phillies last game of a series on the road. The under's 4-1. Ooh, we almost had a perfect constellation forming right there. Last game of a series, though, the Phillies are 4-1 straight up. Here's a great note for you. So far this year, Zach Wheeler has actually pitched 2 of the 4 wins that they've had last game of a series on the road. That's a great note. Phillies last game of a series, regardless of location, are 8-4 straight up. You got to feel good about the Phillies on the money line, certainly coming out that way early on. Let's take a look at the Marlins. Last game of a series, no matter the location, 5-4 straight up, 5-4 on the run line. And we're getting our constellation back because the over is 8-4 as well. Last game of a series, regardless of location. Last game of a series at home. Guys, we have our picks. The Marlins, last game of a series at home this year. 1-5 straight up. 0-6. 0-6 on the run line. And the over is 5-1. Chill bumps. Chill bumps. We love these picks. We're taking Phillies on the money line. Phillies on the money line. We may take the -1.5 as well, but we're going to look at the starting pitchers before we do that. But Phillies on the money line, you can put it on the board. Yes, sir, we're about it. Now, Phillies, Marlins on the over. You got to love this one as well. Phillies, Marlins towards the over. Let's check out where we could take this one. By the way, ass hat. Love it. Love it. By the way, I thought the roast of Tom Brady was awesome. I thought it was hilarious. I hope more athletes do it. It was a reminder that, like, comedy can be funny, that you can make, like, off-color remarks about divorce or, you know, guys in a locker room being gay or Aaron Hernandez killing himself. I actually thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was important. It sounds like an overstatement, but I think it's important for society to remember that comedy is comedy, humor is humor, and not everything has to be so freaking serious all the time. Like, Tom Brady's a weirdo. I freaking love the fact that they made fun of him. I appreciate the fact that he did it. Let's get back to our research, everybody. We're looking at Phillies. Right now, the over-under is set at 7. That is so low. It opened at 7, went up to 7.5, back down to 7. Boy, am I taking this over. Over 6, over 5.5. Over 5.5 is -215. Love it. Over 5.5 is -215. Get on board. I take this over 6. I take it over 5.5 in a parlay, like a same game parlay. Phillies money line over 5.5. You can book it. I am about it. Absolutely love it. Let's take a look at the spread right now. It's the only thing we haven't figured out just yet. We're going to focus on Zach Wheeler and Braxton Garrett, the 2 starting pitchers in this one, just to see if there's anything about these 2 bozos that we can sink our teeth into in terms of a run line play. I shouldn't have called them bozos. At least one of them is going to be a bozo today, though. Zach Wheeler on the mound so far this year. The Phillies are only 4-4 straight up, but they've won their last 4 starts with him on the mound. The over-under is 3-5 towards the under. Under is hit in 3 straight games with him on the mound. However, opponents are actually scoring more runs against the Phillies in his starts than the Phillies are scoring. Kind of interesting there. Let's take a look at Braxton Garrett. Braxton Garrett. How have the Marlins done with him on the mound so far this year? This is actually going to be his first start of the season. Interesting. First start for Braxton Garrett. In 2023, he went. The Marlins went 21-10 in his starts, so he was actually a really good starter for them last year. Interesting note. That said, I still like the Phillies. Would I take them on the run line? Probably. Probably. Given the history the Marlins have against the run line so far this year, I'll take Phillies -1.5 as well. Yep. Phillies -1.5. Phillies on the run line. Phillies and Marlins over 6 or over 5.5. Absolutely love it. Let me recap the picks we have on the board so far. We have Red Sox on the money line. Nationals +1.5. Twins on the money line. Twins and Blue Jays over 7 runs. Yankees and Rays over 7.5 runs. Yankees on the money line. Astros +1.5. Phillies on the money line. We're also taking Phillies minus 1.5, and we're taking Phillies, Marlins over 6 or over 6.5. With that said, personally, I really like these picks, but there are a couple of them that I'm a little dicey on. Monkey Tamer will go one more time really slow, okay? Red Sox on the money line, but we also like the Nationals plus 1.5. We're taking Twins on the money line, Twins and Blue Jays over 7 runs, Yankees and Rays over 7.5, Yankees on the money line, Astros plus 1.5, Phillies on the money line, Phillies minus 1.5, and Phillies Marlins over 6 or over 6.5, or over 5.5. If I had a favorite bet from what we've seen so far, Phillies on the money line is probably our favorite play so far, just based on the data. Marlins absolutely suck at home. Last game of a series, 1-5 straight up, 0-6 on the run line. Phillies have been really good last game of a series, especially on the road. A lot of reasons to like the Phillies today. That's what we're going with. So Phillies money line. Really quick though, I want to check one thing. Phillies against the left-handed starter on the road. 5-3, we like that. How about as an away favorite? Phillies as an away favorite, 11-4. How about after a win? 5-4, not as good, but okay. How about the Marlins after a loss? Marlins after a loss at home. Marlins after a loss at home, 3-13 straight up, and the over is 12-4. This is why we like the over. This is why we like the Phillies. By the way, if you've missed any bet that I made today, if you missed any of the picks that I put up on the board, they are all for free. I give my picks away for free every single day because you're a sports fan just like me. You guys work hard for your money, and your money shouldn't be going towards buying my picks. Be going towards sports bets. Should be going towards fun. So with that said, I give away my picks for free every day. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports. DM me on Instagram. I give away my picks for free. I post them on the SHARPZ app every single day. SHARPZ is a sports betting app that allows me to post every bet. It's free. They're never behind a paywall. You never get charged. They're never deleted. They're always accessible. So if you guys want to see every bet I make every day based on trends, analytics, data, matchups, weather, officiating, whatever, all of my picks are free every single day. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports. Do I take contributions to the channel? Of course I do. I certainly appreciate the support if you want to throw some money in my guitar case. But do I charge for picks? Never. On my life, ButtFumbleSports will never, ever, ever charge you for a single pick, ever. Why? Because you're a sports fan just like me. And I feel like it's a ridiculous thing to do unless you are a true Vegas insider. And personally, I know a few of those guys who work at the sports books. They're not giving away their picks for free, so I understand it them. With that said, we're going to get to our first 2 o'clock first pitch. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games to go in MLB. We have about an hour before first pitch of baseball. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through these next 8 MLB games. Then we're going to do MLB player prop bets. Then I'm going to come off the air. I'm going to post all of my bets because I'm doing my research now. And then I'm going to come back on the air so we can do the NBA. So if you want to watch NBA picks, we're going to focus on the MLB for the next hour or so. After that, I'll probably take like a 15, 20-minute break. I'll come back on the air and we'll do NBA and NHL because they have later starts. But I want to get baseball in because that's what starts first today. Okay, now that we have our agenda for the day, first 2 o'clock pitch, first 2 o'clock game we're going to focus on Guardians, White Sox. Guardians and White Sox. I told you guys, watch out for the White Sox yesterday. Keep your eye on them, and a lot of the trends we're going to look at are similar to yesterday, so keep your eye out. Guardians. Guardians on Sunday so far this year, 3-2 straight up. Again, you guys may not care about this one. We're just keeping our eye on it. White Sox so far on Sunday so far this year are 2-4 straight up, 4-2 towards the under. Okay, now towards some trends you guys may actually care about. How about the Guardians' last game of a series? Guardians' last game of a series like they are today are 9-3 straight up. 7-5 on the run line. The over is 8-4. The Guardians have been a really good team in the last game of a series. How about specifically on the road? Guardians, last game of a series on the road. Here's an important note though, 3-3. So all three of their losses in the last game of a series came on the road. Really important to note. And again, last game of a series, they're also 3-3 on the run line on the road. They're averaging about 4 runs in those 6 games. They're giving up about 3.5. Keep those numbers in mind. So that would mean their opposing team is usually covering the spread. Let's go to the White Sox. White Sox, last game of a series at home, 3-3 straight up, but they're 4-2 on the run line. The under's been a bit better at 4-2 as well. So right now, just based on the early trends we're looking at, White Sox to cover, kind of an interesting one to keep our eye on. Now, the weather in this game is favoring the offense. According to ballparkpal.com, the likelihood of home runs in this game is up 20%. The likelihood of runs in this game is up 10%. I know some of the trends we just looked at favor the under. Ignore them. The over is going to be a good play in this game. The weather is going to play a factor. This game is in Chicago. It is a day game, and the wind is blowing out. Keep your eye on this game. There's going to be some offense in this one. Let's look at how the Guardians have done as an away favorite. Let's look at how the Guardians have done as an away favorite after a loss. Guardians away favorite after a loss so far this year, 1-2 straight up, 0-3 on the run line. 0-3 on the run line. How about the other side of things? White Sox, we looked at this yesterday, so I know this is going to be a good trend. White Sox, after a win at home, are 5-1 straight up. They're now 6-0 on the run line as a home team after a win. May shock you guys, the White Sox, after a win at home, are actually a really good play on the run line. I know. I'm surprised as well. How about after a win when they're an underdog? White Sox, after a win so far this year, are 7-3 on the run line as an underdog, which you would expect. In fact, in their last 7 games as an underdog after a win, they're 5-2. So not only are they covering the spread, they're actually doing a good job of winning outright. In their last 7 games, they've actually covered, as an underdog after a win, they've actually covered the spread 6 times. So I love the over in this game because the weather. I know the trends are favoring the under. This is one in which I'm going to focus more on the weather than I'm going to focus necessarily on the trends that are dating back to maybe some bad weather days. But before we lock in any picks, let's look at the starting pitchers. Michael Soroka is on the mound for the White Sox. We have some data, folks. We have some data. Michael Soroka has made 8 starts this year for the White Sox. They are 1-7 in his starts. The only win came against the Guardians and came against Logan Allen. That is the very pitcher that they are facing today. So kind of an interesting note, everybody. This exact matchup happened earlier this year. It was in Cleveland as opposed to in Chicago. But same scenario, Michael Soroka for the White Sox, Logan Allen for the Guardians. White Sox ended up winning that game 7-5. Interesting note there. But the over, this is what I really care about. The over is 7-1. Over is 7-1 and Mike Soroka starts. We're putting that one up on the board right now. Guardians, White Sox, I'm taking the over. Right now, the total for that game is set at 9. I'd buy it down. I'd take it at 8 if I could. This opened at 9.5, came down to 8.5, went back up to 9. I'm going to take this at over 8. Feel very good about that. White Sox hosting the Guardians. We're taking over 8 runs. Over 8 runs for Guardians and White Sox. We're going to complete the thought on this one. We're going to flip it over and look at Logan Allen. How have the Guardians done when Logan Allen has been on the mound so far this year? Logan Allen has made so far this season, as we pull up killersports.com. Waiting for it to load. I'll take a sip while it does. Come on, killersports.com. Every once in a while, killersports.com does kind of get slow, but here we go. Okay. Thank you, sports gods. We have another great trend for you guys. We have locked in our favorite bet for this game. There is no doubt about it. The weather is favoring the over. Mike Soroka, the over is 8-1. The over is 7-1 in his 8 starts this year. Logan Allen has made 8 starts as well this year. The over is 7-1. These two pitchers are a combined 14-2 towards the over. For sakes, over 9 feels good. Over 9 feels good. I'm taking it at over 8 because I put them into parlays. I like to always be a little safe. But right now, this might be our favorite bet of the day. Over 8 runs, over 8.5, over 9. This is Guardians and White Sox over. White Sox and Guardians. Wow. I don't know if there's a bet I like more than this. Personally, this is a tough game for me to actually bet in terms of a money line or a side. I understand that the money is coming down right now on the Guardians to win. Keep your eye on the White Sox to cover. I could see Guardians winning. I could see White Sox. What are the White Sox at plus? White Sox plus 2.5 I would do again. We did it yesterday. We cashed on it. I would do that again. Man, but Mike Soroka sucks. No. I'm not going to do it. The plus 3, by the way, White Sox plus 3 is minus 245. There are worse bets in this world. But that said, the bet we like the most from this White Sox and Guardians game, the over. Over 8, over 8.5, even over 9. Rorik, I don't like the money line on this one at all. It feels like the Guardians should be your money line bet because Michael Soroka sucks. I probably lean towards Guardians on the money line. But that said, the White Sox at home after a win are a very good cover play. So keep your eye on that one, guys, because I know we're just assuming the White Sox are going to lose every game. But once I saw that trend the other day, it really stands out. The White Sox, the day after a win, when they play at home, they're a pretty good team. So keep your eye on it. Let's move on to the next game we have. Again, we've got 7 more bowl games to get to. Then we're going to do some player prop bets. So we got some hustling to do. Cardinals, Brewers. Boy, are the Brewers getting love this morning. 97% of the money is on the Brewers to win. 93% of the money is on the Brewers to cover minus 1.5. The over is getting some love in this game, and there's a reason for it. The weather, just like in the Guardians and White Sox, favored the over. The weather in this one favors the over as well. According to ballparkpal.com, the likelihood of home runs is up 20% in the Cardinals and Brewers game. The only 2 games today that have a plus 20 on home run probability is Guardians and White Sox and Cardinals Brewers. So keep your eye on that. Likelihood of runs is plus 2 in that game. Pretty good. We like the home runs though. Doing our irrelevant trends before our relevant trends. Cardinals on a Sunday so far this year. Hold your freaking horses, everybody. You want a trend? I'm going to give you a trend. The Cardinals this year have played 6 games on Sunday. 6 games on Sunday. God must hate the Cardinals because the Cardinals are 0-6 on Sunday this year. 0-6 on Sunday straight up. They're 1-5 on the run line on a Sunday. By the way, the under 4-1-1 on Sundays as well. You guys may go, what do I care about that? I don't know, but the Cardinals clearly care about it because they don't show up on Sundays. Let's take a look at how Brewers have done on Sundays so far this year. 3-3 straight up, 3-3 on the run line. Let's go to Cardinals, last game of a series on the road. Last game of a series on the road for the Cardinals, 0-6. 0-6, everybody. The Cardinals' last game of a series on the road, 0-6. So whether it's on a Sunday or whether last game of a series on the road, Cardinals just suck. Cardinals are dog poop on your porch in the summertime. They stink, everybody. How about the Brewers? Last game of a series at home. Just like today, last game of a series at home. Brewers are 3-2 straight up, 2-3 on the run line. The over is 3-2 as well. How about Miles Mikolas? Starting pitcher for the Cardinals. I'm going to get that last name wrong. Apologies to all the Greeks out there. Miles Mikolas, 2-6 straight up, 2-6 on the run line in his 8 starts this year. The under has actually gone 6-2. Man, I like the over in this game according to the weather, but according to all the trends we've seen so far, the under is actually the better bet. How about the starting pitcher for the Brewers, Bryce Wilson? The under's 4-0 in his starts. Okay, we're not going to touch the total. Don't touch the total in Cardinals Brewers. All the trends are backing the under. All the trends are backing the under. The weather backs the over. The trends are backing the under. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. How about the Cardinals after a loss? Cardinals after a loss on the road so far this year. Oops. Got to plug it in correctly. Cardinals after a loss on the road this year are 5-6 straight up. They've actually lost 4 straight games under this scenario. 3 of those losses came to the Brewers. So definitely something that stands out. Obviously, we should see a similar trend on the Brewers side because they've been doing this damage against the Cardinals. Cardinals at home after a win, 5-3 straight up. They've won their last 3 straight, 4 of their last 5. I'm taking Brewers on the money line, everybody. Brewers on the money line. You probably predicted that, given that first trend we saw. The Cardinals, they are terrible on Sundays. They're terrible. Last game of a series on the road. We love this bet. We're taking Brewers on the money line, everybody. Brewers on the money line. Let's get to our next game. We're hustling now. Rangers and Rockies has a 3:10 start, the only game that has a start time at the 3 o'clock hour. So Rangers, Rockies, 3:10. Rockies beat the Rangers yesterday. That was a crusher for some of my parlays. So little angry at the Rangers for blowing that one, but we'll study the trends and see if there's a reason to get back on the Rangers bandwagon for today's action. Rangers on Sunday so far this year, 3-3 straight up. The Rangers are just 1-5 on Sundays on the run line. How about the Rockies on Sundays so far this year? Rockies are 1-6 straight up, 2-5 on the run line. So Sundays have not treated these two teams well. How about the Rangers when they're in the last game of a series on the road like they are today? 4-2 straight up, 3-3 on the run line. The over is 3, 2, and 1. By the way, get off. We're going to recap all of our picks in a minute, so just a note there. Don't bet against Rockies versus lefties at home. Let's look at that trend. Someone just put out a trend that has my attention. The Rockies at home against a left-handed pitcher, against a left-handed starter. Don't bet against Rockies versus lefties at home. Why, John? They're 1-3 straight up and 1-3 on the run line. By the way, you know they're not facing a righty today. They're not facing a lefty today. They're facing a righty. So the Rockies against a right-handed starter at home this year, 7-7 straight up, 9-5 on the run line. Okay, as an underdog against a right-handed starter this year, 8-19 straight up. But I didn't understand that note, John. You're gonna have to explain that one to me for a little bit. What app do you use for trends? Outlier, Outlier. If you want a free 7-day trial, DM me on Instagram. Let's get back to our research here. The Rangers on the road after a loss. Rangers on the road after a loss are 7-4 straight up, 7-4 on the run line, but they have lost back-to-back games against the Rockies. So let's see how they've done after back-to-back losses on the road. Back-to-back losses, and they're on the road. They're 2-1. How about back-to-back losses so far this year? The Rangers, after back-to-back losses, they're only 3-2 straight up, 3-2 on the run line. Man, I wish I could say there was some better data behind it. How about the Rockies after back-to-back wins? That probably hasn't happened too many times this year. Rockies, it's only happened once, and they won. It was against the Rangers. It was yesterday. So, wow. The money is heavily coming down on the Rangers. Do I think the Rangers are going to lose 3 games in a row? I don't. Do I have enough conviction in them to bet it or put it on my big board? I don't. So I'm not going to touch the Rangers on the big board. Rangers on the money line would probably be the smart play given the money coming down on it, but I don't believe in it enough right now just based on what I'm seeing, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to Rangers money line. This is Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers on the money line. Not the New York Rangers. Texas Rangers on the money line. The New York Rangers ain't playing today. Okay, next game. We're not going to focus on the over-under for that one. Don't have enough confidence in it. Reds and Giants. Reds and Giants, everybody. Next game we're going to focus on Reds and Giants when it comes to the weather. The weather is favoring the under just slightly, but we're going to dive into that in a little bit more detail. How have the Reds done on Sundays? Reds on Sundays, 3-3 across the board. How about the Giants on Sundays so far this year? 2-4 straight up. The Giants are 0-6 on the run line on Sundays. Maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't, but I share the trends with you anyways. The Giants are 0-6 on the run line on Sundays. Let's get to some of the trends that may have some more relevance. Reds, last game of a series on the road like they are today. Only 2-3 straight up, 3-2 on the run line. The under has gone 3-2 as well. How about the Giants, last game of a series at home? Giants, last game of a series at home, just 1-4 on the run line, 3-2 straight up, 1-4 on the run line, and 3-1-1 towards the under. Yeah, John, but they're not facing a lefty today. They're not facing a left-handed starter. So that's the only reason I don't know why it matters. So anyways, let's get back to this game. We're looking at the Reds. Did they win or lose yesterday? They lost yesterday. Okay, Reds after a loss so far this year are 10-11. How about on the road after a loss? 5-4. The under 6-3. The under keeps coming up as a really good play in these trends. How about when the Reds are a road underdog after a loss? 3-4 straight up, 4-3 on the run line. The under's 5-2. How about the Giants? Let's flip it around. Giants after a win at home this year. 2-6 straight up, 2-6 on the run line. Under's 4-3-1. This game ain't giving me great vibes. Let's look at the starting pitchers right now. Not getting a good sense of where to take this game. We're looking at Frankie Montas, starting pitcher for the Reds. 3-3 across the board in his starts. Nothing we really could take from that. Yeah, nothing we really could take from that. How about the starting pitcher for the Giants today? Kyle Harrison. This is a better stat. The Giants are 6-2 when Kyle Harrison's on the mound, 6-2 on the run line. The under has gone 5-3. The under keeps showing up. The under keeps being a good play. I might take the under in this game. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to take the Giants on the money line, I think. I think it's a starting pitcher thing. Frankie Montas after a loss, the under. I like the under. I like under. I don't like it at 7.5 where it's set right now. I'd take it under 8.5. That's where I would take this one. That is Reds, Giants, under 8.5, I think. I think that's the spot. I say under 8.5. If you can get it under 9, I do it. I personally take Giants on the money line. I think that is a good bet. So I'll take Giants on the money line as well for this one. That goes up on the big board. We're going to continue to go through our picks. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 games left, everybody. After we do those 4 games, we're going to do player prop bet. Research. If you miss any of the picks I made today or any of the research I did, DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. I give away all of my picks for free. They're never behind a paywall. I never want you to pay for them. They're always accessible, incredibly transparent. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports is the name of my company and the name of my handle on Instagram. I'll give you a link and a referral code for the SHARPZ app. You can get every bet that I make every day. Just DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. I never want you guys to pay for picks. There are a lot of people on social media who do sports betting research. I don't think they should be charging for their picks. I certainly don't. I'd be doing this research whether I was on the air or not. So I give away my picks for free. So make sure you guys DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. You can follow my picks. You can fade my picks. Entirely up to you. But that way you see every bet that I make every day. And then it's in your hands to decide what you want to do with that information. That's what I care about, trying to help you guys out every day. Let's get to our next game. We're going Royals and Angels. Royals and Angels is the next game we're going to focus on. This one, the Royals are getting the love. Royals are getting love on the money line. Royals are getting the love, especially when it comes to the money on the money line. 99% of the money right now is coming down on the Royals to win this game. Let's go through irrelevant trends and relevant trends. Royals on Sundays, the under 5-1. Only trend that really stands out from that. Angels on Sundays. You think the Angels would be good on Sundays? Nope, they're 1-5 on Sundays. Their only win was back in March. So the Angels clearly not doing their prayers on Sundays because they haven't won a Sunday game since March 31st. How about the Royals? last game of a series on the road as they are today, they're 1-4 straight up, 0-4-1 towards the under. Wow, this is really bad. Some of these trends right now in favor of the are against the Royals. Angels, wow, another bad trend. Hard to pick this game, not because there aren't trends, but they're all pointing towards both teams losing. The Angels, last game of a series at home, are 0-5. The Angels have not won the last game of a series at home all year. How about last game of a series regardless of location? They're 3-9 straight up, 7-5 on the run line. Wow, okay. Since March 3rd, they have played 11 games. They have played 11 last games of a series. They have just one win. That is insane. Royals on the money line should be the play, but unfortunately the Royals they've got some bad trends of their own. Okay, how about after a loss, away favorite? Royals did win that one game where it happened. After a loss as a favorite, Royals, here's a good trend. Royals, after a loss, when they're then a favorite the next day, are 4-1 straight up. That's the kind of trend we're looking for as we really want to believe in the Royals. Angels, after a win at home. Oh, wow. You want data? I got data. You want trends? I got trends. The Angels have played 6 games this year at home after a win the previous day. They're 0-6 straight up. They're 1-5 on the run line. And the over, 6-0. Oh, my goodness. You know what we're putting on the board? We're taking Royals on the money line, guys. Royals on the money line. Angels absolutely suck in these scenarios. We haven't seen one trend that backs the Angels. I'm taking Royals on the money line. We'll look at the 2 starters just to flesh it out even more because I'm kind of interested about the over-under. I want to take the over, to be honest with you. Let's take a look at how Seth Lugo has done. When Seth Lugo's been on the mound for the Royals this year, they're 5-3 straight up, 5-3 on the run line. The under slightly better at 4-3-1. How about Patrick Sandoval? Patrick Sandoval for the Angels this year. They're 3-5 in his starts, 4-4-0 on the run line. The over, 6-1-1. This is what I'm going to do. I kind of want to take the over in this game. The weather for Royals and Angels is favoring runs, likelihood of home runs plus 8%. I would take the over in this. So I am taking Royals on the money line, and I'll take Royals, Angels. I'm going to take the over. Right now the total is set at 8.5. Opened at 8.5, came down to 8, then went back up to 8.5. I would buy it at over 7. Over 7 is minus 190 right now on BetMGM, minus 196 on DraftKings. I love it. Over 7 runs. So Royals money line, Royals and Angels, over 7. That's what I would take for that game. We're going to continue to keep rolling. I'll recap all of my picks once we finish up. We have 3 games left. I want to keep the momentum going since we still have player prop bets to get to. Dodgers got the win last night. Dodgers are the heavy favorite today. Who wins this 3rd game of the series? Dodgers so far on Sundays this year, just 3-3 straight up, 2-4 on the run line, 3-2-1 towards the over. Padres on Sundays. Are they like the Angels getting no love? No. Padres are 3-3 straight up on Sundays, 4-2 on the run line. The over is 5-1 when the Padres play on a Sunday. How about the Dodgers? Last game of a series on the road. Dodgers, last game of a series on the road, are 2-3 actually. The under is 4-1. Dodgers are 1-4 on the run line. Last game of a series on the road. So actually not a great look for them, especially on the spread. How about Padres? Last game of a series. Overall, 8-5, straight up 9-4 on the run line. Last game of a series at home. Padres are 5-1. Last game of a series at home. And on the run line, they're 4-2. The over is also 5-1. Last game of a series for the Padres at home. These are some trends we actually really like. Let's take a look at how the Dodgers have done after a win when they're a favorite. Dodgers are 15-9 straight up, 11-13 on the run line, and the over is 15-9 last when they are coming off a win and they're a favorite. How about as an away favorite specifically? Dodgers as an away favorite after a win, not as good as you'd think actually. 6-5 straight up, 5-6 on the run line, and the under is 6-5, and the under's actually hit in 4 of their last 5 games. Very, very interesting. We're going to look at Walker Buehler before we flip it over to the Padres side. Have the Dodgers done when Walker Buehler's been on the mound? He's only made 1 start so far this year, obviously coming off that Tommy John. They won that start 6-3. The over hit in that one. That was against the Marlins, though, last week. Or I guess it was Monday of this week. The Padres have Yu Darvish on the mound. Let's take a look at Yu Darvish. Have the Padres done with Yu Darvish on the mound this year? They're 5-2 straight up. They've won their last 4 starts with him on the mound. The over is actually 5-2 when Yu Darvish starts. The over's hit in 4 of the last 4 games, 5 of the last 6 games that he's been on the mound. I also want to do one quick look up. How has Yu Darvish done against the Dodgers in his career? When the opposing team is the Dodgers, Yu Darvish in his career is 8-7 straight up, 9-6 on the run line. The under is 8-6-1. How about when Yu Darvish is at home? No, 3-3 straight up, 3-3 on the run line, so no real data there. Let's take a look at those Padres. Padres coming off a loss when they're at home after a loss. So far this year, 6-8 straight up, 4-10 on the run line, 8-6 towards the over. They're just 1-4 in their last 5 games coming off a loss or coming off a loss at home. Right now, the bet I'd probably make for this one is Dodgers on the money line. I like the starting pitching matchup. Walker Buehler is really what I'm betting on. I'm kind of caught on the over-under. There's a part of me that wants to take the over. The under seems to be the better trend, though. I'm going to avoid this one. In terms of the weather is actually favoring the under. The weather is favoring the under. This game actually has the greatest probability of negative runs, so the likelihood of the probability of runs is down 13% in this game. The money's coming down on the under. Keep your eye actually on the under just based on those 2 factors. Trends may point in one direction, but that total is a bit tricky. But I will take Dodgers on the money line on this one. Dodgers money line. Part of me wants to take Padres plus 2.5. Or Padres plus 2. Padres plus 2, minus 261. Not a very attractive bet for a lot of you guys out there. I understand why that may not be worth it to you. Let's keep going with our work, everybody. We are looking at 2 more games before we're going to recap our game picks. Again, if you miss any of my picks, don't worry. All of them are free. Just DM me on Instagram. That way you never miss a bet. Athletics, Mariners. Next game we're going to focus on. How have the Athletics done so far on Sundays? They are 4-2 straight up, 3-3 on the run line, 4-1-1 towards the over. Mariners on Sundays so far this year, 2-5 straight up, 2-5 on the run line, 3-4 favoring the under. Let's focus on some trends you guys actually might care about. Athletics, last game of a series on the road. This is going to surprise you guys. Athletics, last game of a series on the road, 4-1 straight up, 4-1 on the run line. So I know a lot of people think the Athletics are just, a team that can be rolled over. Not the case, especially on the road. Last game of a series. They're actually a tough out. The only loss and the only time they haven't covered the spread was against the Guardians this year. And that's when the Guardians were en fuego. So definitely a sign that the Athletics are a team that you shouldn't overlook today just because of the branding. That said, A's going up against the Mariners. Mariners last game of a series at home are 1-5 straight up, 1-5 on the run line, and the under is 5-1. So just based on last game of a series and the location of today's matchup, the A's are actually the better bet, especially on the run line. The Mariners are 1-5 on the run line. The A's are 4-1 on the run line. Really, really interesting data. By the way, Carlos, I'm not betting that game, buddy. Athletics, coming off a loss as an away dog. So far this year, 6-4 straight up, but 7-3 on the run line, and they've won 4 of their last 5 games. Don't sleep on the A's. Don't sleep on the A's. Keep your eyes out. Mariners, after a win at home. Mariners, after a win at home this year, are 7-6 straight up, 6-7 on the run line. This has actually been one of our favorite trends. Mariners are coming off a win yesterday, right? No. I got it wrong. Did the A's win yesterday? Yeah, the A's won yesterday. I'm looking at the wrong trend. Forgive me. The A's won yesterday. My bad. I gotta back this train up. The A's, after a win as a road dog, 3-5. So maybe I was getting a little too excited about those A's a moment ago. After a win on the road, the A's are 3-5. The under is 5-2-1. How about the Mariners after a loss? Mariners after a loss are 11-7. How about after a loss at home? Forgive me for that mistake a moment ago. 5-2 straight up. They've won their last 3. The money right now is very favoring the Mariners. I'm going to take the Mariners on the money line. Starting pitching matchup is going to make the difference for me on this one. Luis Castillo is on the mound for the Mariners. They're one of their aces. They've got a couple of aces at this point. Luis Castillo, so far this year, the under's the play. The under's a good play. Mariners, A's, the under's a good play. How about Alex Wood on the mound? Flipping it over. Alex Wood. The A's, 4-4. Okay, this is what we're going to do, folks. This is what we're going to do. I'm taking the Mariners on the money line. Mariners on the money line, though I don't feel great about it, if I'm being honest. Mariners on the money line. No, I'm ripping it off the board. I don't feel good enough about it. I will take A's and Mariners. I'm going to take the under. A's and Mariners. Under. Can I get it at 9? Under 8.5. So Mariners and A's under 8.5. Probably where I'm coming down on this. Checking my ballparkpal.com. Yeah. I will take Mariners on the money line. Mariners, money line. A's, Mariners, under 8.5. Those are the picks. We have one more game to get to. Then we're going to recap all the MLB game picks we just went through. Then we're going to do MLB player prop bets. So we have about a half hour left of the show. Maybe even a little less. So we got a lot of work to do. We got to hustle. Braves, Mets. Braves and Mets today. Guys, the public likes the Braves. 77% of the tickets are on the Braves. 51% of the money is on the Mets to win. The smart money is coming down on the Mets to win. Keep your eyes on that one. So far this year on Sundays, the Braves are 3-3 straight up, 2-4 on the run line. The Mets on a Sunday so far this year are 3-3 straight up, 2-4 on the run line. How about the Braves? Last game of a series on the road, the Braves are 3-3 straight up, 2-4 on the run line. Seems to be a very popular trend here. How about the Mets? Last game of a series at home for the Mets. The Mets so far this year, 5-1 straight up. That's a great trend. The Mets, last game of a series when they play at home, they have played very well, 5-1. Their only loss came back on March 31st. That's a long time ago at this point. How about, let's take a look at the Braves. After a win on the road, 6-5 straight up, 5-6 on the run line. How about after back-to-back wins? Back-to-back wins on the road. Braves are 4-1 straight up. The under is 4-1. Kind of interesting there. How about the Mets? Mets, after a loss at home so far this year, 5-6 straight up, 2-9 on the run line. Yuck. How about after back-to-back losses when they're at home? So far this year, 2-3 straight up, 1-4 on the run line. How about Luis Severino? Luis Severino on the mound for the Mets. 2-5 straight up, 2-5 on the run line, 4-3 overall. How about Bryce Elder? Bryce Elder, so far this year, 2-1 straight up, 1-2 on the run line, 1-2. I want to look at one other trend, duplicate. Let's take a look at when Bryce Elder has faced the Mets at any point in his career. Team Mets. When Bryce Elder's faced the Mets, he's 2-0 straight up, 1-1 on the run line. The under is 2-0. I don't think I like this game enough, just given what I'm seeing. If I had to go in any direction, I may take the Mets to cover just based on all the trends, based on the money coming in on the Mets. But overall, not crazy enough about this one. I think I may avoid this game. I'm going to avoid this one. That means we are done with our MLB game picks. Here is a recap. Everybody listen up. Here is a recap against all of the picks we have on the board right now. Here is a recap on all of the picks we've given out, okay? Here's a recap on all of the picks. You guys ready? We have Red Sox on the money line. Red Sox on the money line, but I am going Nationals plus 1.5. So Red Sox money line, Nationals plus 1.5. We have the Twins on the money line. Twins and Blue Jays over 7 runs. Yankees on the money line and Yankees and Rays over 7.5 runs. We have the Astros plus 1.5. Phillies on the money line. Phillies and Marlins over 6, over 5.5. We have Guardians on the money line. We have Guardians, White Sox over 8. Forgive me. Guardians and White Sox over 8. We have Brewers on the money line. Rangers on the money line. Reds and Giants under 8.5. Reds and Giants under 8.5. We have Giants on the money line. Royals on the money line. Royals, Angels over 7. Dodgers on the money line. Mariners on the money line, and A's Mariners under 8.5. If you missed any of our picks, I give them away for free. DM me on Instagram, @ButtFumbleSports. We'll be live for another 15 minutes or so. Once we're done with that, we're going to post all of our picks. So DM me on Instagram. You'll see every bet that I make every day. They're never behind a paywall. I never charge for my picks. You guys work hard for your money. You guys should be owning your money. You shouldn't be paying me for my picks. I do this research for free. We're doing MLB for this show. I'm going to go place my bets. I will come back on later and we'll do NBA and NHL research, but I wanted to focus on MLB since it's an early start. But I will never ever charge you for a pick. As you guys know, we focus on data, analytics, research, trends, matchups, officiating, weather. We try to get as much data as we can, find a collection of variables that point in the same direction. That's how we make our bets every single day. Let's get to some player prop bets, everybody. We're going to go through this pretty quick. The way I go about this is I like to look at a player. How have they done against a certain pitcher? How have they done against righty-lefty splits? We open up with a lawn on our screen. Ketel Marte has a hit in 10 straight games. In fact, he has a hit in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Ketel Marte has a hit in 12 straight games, 17 of his last 20. For some reason, over half a hit is available. Against right-handed pitching this year, he's just hitting .255, so maybe you don't want to take this. But Ketel Marte has a 12-game hitting streak, so keep your eye on that. Now, against Dean Kramer, Luis Gurriel is actually a really good play as well. Or Lourdes Gurriel, sorry. Against right-handed pitchers this year, though, just a 183 average, so I'm not going to go with it. How about the Orioles? Against Zach Gallen, Gunnar Henderson is 2 for 3. Not a big sample size, but we're interested in that. Zach Gallen. Ryan O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn's been red hot. Ryan O'Hearn, over half a hit. Put it on the board. Ryan O'Hearn, over half a hit. That's the first player prop bet we're putting on the big board for baseball. Ryan O'Hearn, over half a hit. Next game, we're going to be pretty quick about this. Next game we're focusing on Nico Hoerner against lefties. Nico Hoerner's got good numbers against both the starter and lefties. Morel, okay, against this starter. Bellinger. Bellinger's got great stats. This is what we want. Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger. Oh, it's 1.5 for him. So Cody Bellinger, we might go 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Cody Bellinger has hit over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 8 of his last 10 games. Against this starting pitcher, he's 2 for 4 lifetime with 3 RBIs against left-handed pitching this year. Cody Bellinger is hitting 400 against left-handed pitching this year. I'd take Cody Bellinger over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I'll put that on the big board. Cody Bellinger over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. Any others that we like for the Cubs? Patrick Wisdom is actually up there as well. Patrick Wisdom, is he over half a hit? Yeah, he is. Patrick Wisdom over half a hit against right-handed pitchers so far, or against left-handed pitchers rather, so far this year. He has a hit in 5 of his last 10 games. 5 of his last 7, really. Head-to-head. No, I'll avoid him. Oh, we got to switch over. Let's see the Pirates. Pirates against Kyle Hendricks. Connor Joe. Connor Joe has great numbers. 11 at-bats, 545 batting average. Connor Joe hitting 275 against righties. Connor Joe over half a hit. I take that one as well. Connor Joe over half a hit. So we put 3 player prop bets up on the board so far. Ryan O'Hearn over half a hit. Cody Bellinger over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. And Connor Joe over half a hit. Let's keep going. We're looking just for over half a hit plays. Those are the player prop bets that I like to play almost every day and put them into a parlay. Jesse Winker is 1 for 3 against Brian Bayo. Against right-handed pitching, he's 282. Do we like Jesse Winker? It's over half a hit is what we're looking for against right-handed pitchers on the road. 4 games without a hit, I'll avoid it. How about the Red Sox against Mackenzie Gore? No one's got good stats, but against left-handed pitching this year, Connor Wong is hitting 375 against left-handed starters. I'll put Connor Wong as my one hit from this game. Connor Wong over half a hit, and that's really based on how he's performed against left-handed starters. Connor Wong against left-handed pitchers this year. He has a hit in 7 of his last 10 games. At home specifically, 6 of his last 10. In his last 20 games at home against left-handers, 11 of his last 10 overall, regardless of location, 12 of his last 10. So I will take Connor Wong to get a hit today against the left-handed starter for the Nationals, Mackenzie Gore. Next game will be Blue Jays and Twins. Blue Jays and Twins. Alek Manoah. Carlos Santana has some good stats against them, but not good stats against righties. Interesting. Carlos Correa, decent stats to kind of match up. Carlos Correa over half a hit. I'm going to add to this. I'm also looking at the Blue Jays. Blue Jays against Bailey Ober. No real data here. Varsho, no. I'm going to go Carlos Correa for that one. Carlos Correa over half a hit. Do we like Max Kepler today? Against Alek Manoah, he is 1 for 3. He is hitting 300. Yeah, I do like Max Kepler. Max Kepler over half a hit. Oh, we got a lawn, everybody. We got a lawn. We got a lawn on our hands. Max Kepler has a hit in 10 straight games. Max Kepler has a hit in 17 of his last 20 games. We love the trend. Max Kepler, Jay, you're dead on. Max Kepler over half a hit. Great call. Max Kepler over half a hit. Wham-X full. I love it. 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 We are taking Max Kepler over half a hit for that one. Let's get to our next game. Yankees and the Rays. Can we believe in it? Will Juan Soto finally get a hit? He hasn't had a hit in 3 straight games. Should I continue to bet on it? Probably not, but I'm going to anyways. Over half a hit's available right now. Oh man, it's not even a good spot. Hasn't had a hit in 3 straight games. That hasn't happened in his time as a Yankee. He's actually doesn't have a hit in his last 3 starts against the Rays, so I'm going to avoid it just for that reason. Let's actually start by looking at the Rays hitters. Nobody has any history against this starting pitcher. Ahmed Rosario is the only one with any history. I'm not even seeing him available, so I'm not going to take that. How about on the other side? Gleyber Torres has good numbers against this pitcher, not great numbers against lefties. Juan Soto, as I mentioned earlier, the only hitter with above 300 average against lefties, but I'm not going to bet a hitter in this game, believe it or not. I want to take Aaron Judge. I want to take Aaron Judge over half a hit, but he's hitless against this starter. Against left-handed pitchers this year, Judge is hitting just 172. Can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah, can't do it. I don't have a good hit. I don't have a good hit from this Yankees and Rays game, despite the fact that we like the over. We like the over in this game, but I can't find someone to bet on. I feel like it should be Juan Soto. How does Juan Soto go 4 games without a hit? Right? Right? But I'm not going to take it. His odds aren't good enough at minus 245. We're going to keep rattling through these. We only have about 10 minutes left of the show, everybody. Astros game, Astros and Tigers. Anyone we like for this? Jack Flaherty, Dubon's got good numbers, but no. Kyle Tucker Kyle Tucker, someone we could probably get behind. Kyle Tucker over half a hit, not available. Not available. The sports books aren't giving it to us. Other side, against Justin Verlander, Mark Canha is hitting .357 against Verlander in 14 at-bats. Mark Canha is actually hitting him really well. Mark Canha had a grand slam yesterday. I'm willing to take Mark Canha over half a hit if he is available. It is. Mark Canha over half a hit. Putting it on the big board, believe it or not. Okay, next game. We're moving fast now. Phillies, Marlins. Phillies and Marlins against Braxton Garrett. Alec Boehm rakes against him. .556 average. Alec Boehm has phenomenal numbers against him and hits lefties well. Alec Boehm is a no-brainer, but we're not going to take it. Over half a hit isn't available, so we're going to take Alec Boehm, 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Alec Boehm over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. We love the matchup. We love how he hits against left-handed pitchers, so we like Alec Boehm a lot. Flipping it over against Zach Wheeler, Jazz Chisholm and Josh Bell have good stats against him. Josh Bell specifically has 3 home runs against him lifetime. I'm going to take Josh Bell over half a hit if I can find it. Josh Bell over half a hit is available. I'm going to take this one. Josh Bell over half a hit. Putting it up on the board as well. Josh Bell over half a hit. I also think there are some other plays you could probably take. Bryce Harper. Really quick, is Bryce Harper available for over half a hit? He is. Great numbers against Braxton, 3 for 9. Against lefties, though, just 245 this year, so something to keep your eye on there. Sosa has good numbers against him. Edmundo Sosa is a good play, too. Edmundo Sosa over half a hit. Edmundo Sosa over half a hit. Really strong play here as well. Edmundo Sosa over half a hit. Appreciate you guys being with us. We're rocking through these picks. We only have a few more to get to. Guardians, White Sox. Anybody we like from this? Soroka. Josh Naylor rakes against him. Yeah, Josh Naylor. Josh Naylor over half a hit. Josh Naylor over half a hit. That goes on the board. Josh Naylor over half a hit. We're going pretty fast right now. Forgive me. We're making our way through these picks very, very quickly. We really like Josh Naylor. Jose Ramirez, not as much. On the other side, Andrew Vaughn. Keep your eye on Andrew Vaughn today. He could get a hit, but Josh Naylor is who we're going with from that game. Continuing to move fast. Cardinals, Brewers. Cardinals and Brewers against this starting pitcher. Paul Goldschmidt's hitting .545, and he finally got out of that slump yesterday with a hit, but his stats overall are dog poop on your porch, so we're not going to take it. How about against Miles Mikolas? William Contreras is on fire, and he hits this pitcher well. I'm going to rock that. I'm going William Contreras to keep his on-base streak alive. Now, William Contreras, I take over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Oh, it's not available. That sucks. Over half a hit's available, but not in a lot of spots. Too bad. What about William Contreras over 1.5 bases? He has this in a bunch of games. He has this in 5 straight, 6 of his last 7. Man, he's got such good stats against this starting pitcher. I kind of want to take the over 1.5 bases, so I'll jump on it, though it's not as good a bet. We're going very fast now, lightning round, as we've got to get our bets in pretty soon. Nothing from the Rangers side of offense that we like. Nothing from the Rockies either. We're rolling. Looking at Reds and Giants. Friedel. TJ Friedel. We like him. TJ Friedel. Over half a hit. Let's go to the next side. Let's look at the Giants side. Against Montas, Chapman's 1 for 3, but nothing else there. So that's the only one we're going to take from that game. Royals, Angels. Boy, are we rolling fast right now. Patrick Sandoval, Bobby Witt Jr. Doesn't have as good numbers against lefties. I'm always taken by that. Joe Adell. Joe Adell's been hitting the ball really, really well, but not against righties. We're moving on from that game. Dodgers, Padres. Against you, Darvish. No Dodgers actually have really good stats. Only Freddie Freeman actually has good numbers against him. Freddie Freeman, over half a hit, I would take. That's the only one that actually is really attractive, at least from the Dodger side. Over half a hit for Freddie Freeman. If we're going back and looking at the Padres side of things against Walker Buehler, no one's really got great stats except Fernando Tatis. He's the only one, maybe over half a hit for him, but that's the only one I like there. A's, Mariners against Luis Castillo. Langeles? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he hits him well. But other than that, Alex Wood, Mitch Garver. Nope. We're moving on from that game. We're getting down to the end of it here. Braves, Mets. I'm going super fast. Against Severino, Ronald Acuna Jr. does have good numbers, actually. I'll take Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald Acuna Jr. over half a hit. I might also consider Ronald Acuna Jr. over half a stolen base, over half a hit, and Ronald Acuna Jr. over half a stolen base. I would take that one as well. Over half a stolen base, you can get at plus 178. Hasn't had a stolen base in 5 games against the Mets. Against a right-handed starter. Has a stolen base of 4 of his last 6 games. I love that data there, so that's what I've got my eye on. As for Bryce Elder, Francisco Lindor hits him pretty well. Starling Marte hits him okay. Lindor's probably the only one of this group that I like, but probably not enough. So, here's a recap of the player prop bets we just made, okay? Listen up, everyone. We like Ryan O'Hearn over half a hit. Cody Bellinger over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Connor Joe over half a hit. Connor Wong over half a hit. Max Kepler over half a hit. Alex Boehm over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Josh Bell over half a hit. Edmundo Sosa over half a hit. Josh Naylor over half a hit. TJ Friedel over half a hit. Freddie Freeman over half a hit. Ronald Acuna Jr. over half a hit. And Ronald Acuna Jr. over half a stolen base. If you missed any bet that we made during the show, DM me on Instagram. We're going to give away all of our picks for free. They're all accessible. We're going to hop off the air right now. I'm going to place these bets so all of you can see them. Then we're going to come back on the air and do NBA and NHL. Because those have later start times, we didn't research those during this show. This was just baseball. But if you missed any of our picks, DM me on Instagram. We never charge for our picks. They're never behind a paywall. We give them away for free. So DM Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram. That's Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram to get every bet I make every day for free, regardless of the sport, regardless of the type of bet. We always make our picks for free every single day because you're a sports fan just like us. You deserve it. So with that said, we're going to go take our time putting in these picks. Then we're going to come back on the air and do the NBA. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Until then, have a great afternoon. Stay healthy, stay safe. I'll be back on in just a little bit. Can't wait to see you. Goodbye, everybody.